First, we're going to start with mental health. Yes, eating healthy is very important for mental health. The food you eat directly affects your brain, mood, and overall cognitive well-being. Here's why. A brain nutrition, your brain needs vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats.
Omega
3s, fish or flax to properly function.
deficiencies.
In things like vitamin D or vitamin B, magnesium can contribute to mood such as depression or anxiety. Blood sugars, foods high in sugars, refined carbs, and can cause spikes and crashes in mood blood sugar, which may lead to irritability, anxiety, and fatigue. Balance with meals, protein, fiber, and healthy fats help maintain steady energy and mood. Get the brain connection. A healthy gut microbiomes is linked to better mental health. Eating plenty of fiber, fruits, and vegetables and foods support getting bacteria, which in turn can influence in stress levels. Inflammation reduction. Chronic inflammation is linked to depression, cognitive decline. Diets such as enriched whole foods, exogens, and anti-inflammatory nutrients like fruits, vegetables, and overall oil can help reduce inflammation by the body-brain. Neurotransmitters support the chemicals in the brain that regulate mood, serotonin, and influenced by nutrition in your diet. For example, protein provides amino acids that are building and blocks these neurotransmitters. While eating healthy is not a cure to mental health issues, it can significantly support your brain function, mood stability, and resilience to stress. Thinking of giving your mind fuel needs
Optimally,
in my opinion, in mental health, eating is important. It's something I struggle with, but last week I gave a suggestion of protein shakes. This week I give a suggestion of bananas. This is not my greatest strength on eating, but I'm working on it.
Admittedly, this relationship is based on correlations, which means they don't say a nutrient caused anything, but it seems like there could be something going on here. And if so, there's a pretty good explanation for why. Those nutrients all act as antioxidants. During daily life, chemical reactions in your body can split oxygen molecules into atoms with unpaired electrons, which are called free radicals. Without a second electron, these free radicals are unstable, so they scavenge other cells to find an electron to pair with. That puts the body under stress and can ultimately cause inflammation or other damage. Antioxidants are molecules that fight that stress by handing over their own electrons without becoming unstable themselves. What does that have to do with mental health? Well, there's a lot of evidence for a link between certain mental health symptoms and inflammation. The link is especially strong for depression, but papers have found some support for a connection with ADHD, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder as well. The research is ongoing, but the general idea seems to be that inflammatory molecules may affect how chemicals are released in the brain. In any case, the relationship has come up enough that some researchers have wondered if giving a patient nutrient supplements that fight inflammation could help ease their symptoms. And amazingly, it might, at least in some cases. In September of 2019, a huge meta-review was published in World Psychiatry, and it took a big picture look at nutritional supplements and mental health conditions. Now, a meta-review is a reanalysis of the data from a bunch of meta-analyses, which themselves are reanalyses of the data from a bunch of individual studies. studies. So suffice it to say, this paper looked at a ton of data, and what it found was kind of encouraging. For one, it found that folate, which fights inflammation, was helpful for depression symptoms when it was used as an add-on to existing treatment. It also found emerging evidence that a kind of antioxidant amino acid could be a useful treatment for depression, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. The big stars of the paper, though, were omega-3s, which are types of fatty acids with anti-inflammatory properties. There are a bunch of them, but the most effective one in this review was EPA. In the paper, there was some evidence that omega-3 supplements helped with ADHD, and there was a bunch of evidence that they helped with depression. Like, these supplements were demonstrated to reduce depressive symptoms in people with major depressive disorder over 13 studies involving more than 1,200 participants. That's a lot of participants, especially for psych research. Now, one thing this review didn't say was that all supplements are effective all the time. Like, it did not find that omega-3s were helpful for schizophrenia or other mental illnesses. And despite what smaller studies have found, the review found little evidence for the effectiveness of zinc, magnesium, or vitamin C or E supplements. Vitamin D even fell short, although the authors noted that there is some growing evidence that it could help treat depression. Overall, the authors say we need more research examining individual nutrients and their effects on specific mental illnesses. But the takeaway is that supplements could be really helpful for some patients, depending on their situation. Of course, there's also a big thing to keep in mind here. Even for the nutrients that showed promise, these supplements are not a cure-all. Diet is only one potential factor in someone's mental health, and it's completely possible to have a nutrient-rich diet and a mental illness. Like I said earlier, mental health is complicated, and just because supplements could help doesn't mean they're the only way to get help. Ultimately, those kinds of decisions are up to a person and their doctor. If nothing else, though, this kind of research does remind us that our brains aren't separate from the rest of our bodies, and eating a healthy diet is likely one way to take care of them both. If you want to learn more about mental health, you might enjoy our episode about how there's more than one type of bipolar disorder. But as always, thank you for watching this episode of SciShow Psych. We know that there's a lot of content online these days, and we're thankful that you're spending some of your time getting smarter with us.
In baseball, the Dodgers will play the Brewers with a 2-0 lead. The Dodgers do. The Dodgers will have Tyler Glasnow on the mound. The Milwaukee Brewers have still had to announce their starter. That game begins at 3:08. I imagine it'll be a bullpen game and just a couple innings for the starter. The Mariners will play the Blue Jays in Series Game 4. Blue Jays will have Max Scherzer on the mound. And for the Marlins Mariners, it will be Luis Castillo on the mound. First pitch 7:33, 8:33, and 5:33 Pacific time. Last night it wasn't much of a game as the Thursday Night Football. Steelers will play the Bengals. October 16, 2025. 8:15. Steelers are riding high, a 3-game winning streak. Defense is strong with TJ Watt and rookie Derek Harmon making an impact. Bengals struggling with 4 straight losses, and Joe Flacco who has shown promise connecting with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Joe Burrow has been hurt this season for a lot of the games. Key matchups: Steelers pass rush versus Flacco's passing. Bengals, TJ Turner versus the Steelers wide receiver. Odds 5.5. Over under 43.5. Money line: Steelers start minus 253. Bengals plus 220. Tonight's kickoff is at 7:15. Cincinnati to host. That's Sam on sports, and that's football.